It's a very special schus for me to be able to come to your wonderful school. I thank Rabbi Presper for facilitating that I should be able to be here today. And I've spoken in many, many boys' schools. This is the first girls' school that I'm speaking on this particular trip. And so I'm honored to be here. And I hope that we'll be able to be inspired together. I want to begin by telling you a story that the theme of the story, as we will see in a few moments, will give us a perspective of what a life of a Jewish girl and a Jewish person is all about. In the year 1903, in Poland, there was a very, very great Rebbe. It was the Ger Rebbe, and in that time in Poland, the most Hasidim, the biggest Hasidus, was of Ger. They had thousands and thousands of Hasidim. And the Rebbe who passed away in 1903 was the second Ger Rebbe. His name was the Sfas Emes. And when he passed away, his son would become the next Ger Rebbe. He was known as the Imre Emes. So he was at the funeral of his father. And at the funeral, he spoke to his brother, Rabbi Tzalel, and he said, at least our father had Arichas Yamim. Arichas Yamim means length of days. So the brother, Rabbi Tzalel, said to his older brother, Rabbi Avram, who was going to become the next Rebbe, what are you talking about? Our father didn't have Arichas Yamim, which means length of days. He only lived to be 56. That's not long days. And then the Imre Emes said something so brilliant that we should always remember for the rest of our lives. He said, I didn't say that our father had Arichas Shonim, length of years. I said that he had Arichas Yamim, length of days. And there's a great difference between Arichas Shanim and Arichas Yamim. No one in the world, no man, woman, or child, can guarantee for themselves Arichas Shanim, length of years. Whether somebody lives 80, 90, 70, 60, or 100, it's all in the hands of Hashem. Nobody can take care of that. Nobody can guarantee that. But every girl here today, and every adult here, and anyone that's going to be listening to this presentation, we can all guarantee in our lives that we will have Arichas Yamim. Arichas Yamim means length of days, making the most out of every day. And when we come together in the Yemei HaSfira and we count the days, it's not only a question of counting the days, but it's more important to make every day count. And that's what the whole hachana, that's what the whole preparation between Paysach and Shavuos is all about. These are days of preparation. Now, many of you girls may have heard of the commentary or the commentator on Chumash called Rabbeinu Bechaya. He was one of the Rishonim. And he says a fabulous thing. He says Paysach, the Yontif of Paysach, is not an entity in itself. It's the beginning of something till Shavuos. And he says all the days between Paysach and Shavuos are really Chol HaMoed. Imagine that we consider Chol HaMoed between the first and last days of Paysach or Sukkot. But he says really the days between Paysach and Shavuos are really Chol HaMoed because it's in the middle. We're preparing until we get to Shavuos. So how should we prepare? How can we make sure that every day counts and that we have Arichas Yamim? And the Chavetz Chaim says something so important. And I'm only saying exactly where he says it if you ever want to look it up. The Chavetz Chaim wrote a fabulous sefer called Avas Chesed, about doing favors. And in Perik Yud Beis, the 12th chapter, he writes this thing. Ma'od. Ma'od means it's so important that a person should be careful to do a chesed every single day. Every single day. From now on, we should try to do a chesed for another person. And what I would say is that you should keep a journal and write down the chesed that you do for somebody else. Don't write down 2 or 3, even if you did 10. Because if you keep that notebook, you're going to feel bad. Certain days I couldn't do more than 1. But at least you'll do that 1. And I guarantee you that your life is going to change. You know why? Because David HaMelech says, Hashem tzilcha, God is your shadow. And if you do for others, others will do for you. And the Chavetz Chaim says, just like a person is supposed to do a chesed every day, a person is supposed to learn Torah every day. Even girls. I'm not expecting you to learn Daf Yomi, but the idea is you could learn Chumash, you could learn Tanakh, you could learn Musa, you could learn Halacha. Every day, you want to have Arichas Yomim, you want to have length of days, make sure that every day you do a chesed for somebody, and every day you learn something, even if you're on vacation, even if it's on Shabbos and you're not in school, try to learn something. Chumash, Tanakh, Musar, Halacha, whatever. Now, I want to tell you something that's so fascinating. Did you ever think about this? Why is Sfira 49 days? Where does that number come from? And so I want to ask you a question. The Bnei Yissaschar quotes a Mishnah in Avos, and a period based in Avos, it tells us that Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai asked his Talmidim, what's the best midah that a yid should have? Let's get 2 or 3 answers. What do you think? What's the best midah? Go ahead. Yes? Avos Yisrael. That's a good answer. Yeah, anybody else? Yes? Kibbut Avim. Also very good, yes? What? Having emunah. Great answers. So, okay, I'm going to ask something else you'll be able to answer in a minute. So, Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai, he asked his Talmidim, and one of the Talmidim said, you should have a leiv tov, a good heart. And Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai said, that's the right answer. Because if you have a good heart, you're going to have a good eye, you won't be jealous, and you're going to be a good friend, and you're going to be a good neighbor. Now, I know all your girls are bright. How much is leiv equal to? 32. How much is tov equal? 17. How much is 32 and 17? 49. That's why we have 49 days of Sfira, so that every person should have a leiv tov. Now, I'm going to tell you a great story, and tonight at the Shabbos table, I want you to ask, the ones that are sitting around the table, ask this question. We're going to see something fabulous. There's a guy in New York, his name is Ari Hirsch. He has one of these newspapers that, it's not a serious paper. He writes a lot of stuff, he gets a lot of ads, and every few weeks, he calls 50 different people, 50 people that are in the public eye, and he asks them the same question. And then, at the end of a couple weeks, he gets all the answers and he prints them together. So 2 years ago, he called me up. He said, Rabbi Krohn, I want to ask you a question. I'm asking you and 49 other people. And I'm asking all of you, and ask this at your table tonight. Let's see, you'll give the first answer, okay? If you could have any 3 people at your house for supper, from Adam Marisha until today, which 3 people would you have? What do you say? Which 3 people? Yeah. Tell me one. Besides me. Who? Sarah. A lot of girls say Sarah Emanuel. Some girls tell me Sarah Schneer. Right? Anybody else have any answers? Yes? Shlomo Melech. Good, that's good, yes. That's the one that I said. I said 3. One was David Melech, yeah. Who? Eliyahu. Wow, that's great. You could ask him when Mashiach's coming. So I'll tell you which 3. Yeah, go ahead. Mashiach. Whoa, that's a great answer. Nobody ever told me that before. That's good. So listen to this. I said to him, David HaMelech, like you said. The second one I said was Rashi. I love Rashi. And if I could have Rashi on my table, I could ask him about any Rashi, because he wrote them, right? So I said Rashi, David HaMelech, and I said Reb Chaim Ozer Gruzinski, who was the Gadol Adar in Vilna in the 1930s. A few weeks after he called me, he calls me back and said, Rabbi Krohn, I'm printing the answers this week, so maybe you should make sure to get the edition. I said to him, who gave you the best answer? I'm waiting for him to tell me, right? He said, Reb David Feinstein. I said, are you crazy? You went to the Gadol Adar and you asked him this ridiculous question? He said, no, I didn't go into the Beis Medrash to ask him. I was walking in the Lower East Side and I saw him and I had this question in my mind, so I figured I would ask him. Hold on to your seatbelts, you won't believe. I said, what did Reb David say? Which 3 people would he invite if he could? You know what he said? 3 poor people. How do you like that? I guarantee you nobody tonight at the table is going to say that. You know why? Because most people, including me, I'll think, boy, if I had David HaMelech on my table, I'd be on the front page of the Jewish headlines, right? Imagine if I had Rashi in my house, I would make sure that Jonathan was there with his camera and, make sure that I get big honor. Rashi's coming to my table. David HaMelech is coming. But he's not thinking about that. He's thinking about somebody else. That's what a Leiv Toiv is all about. And I'll tell you a great story. When you hear about stories about Leiv Toiv, the common denominator is not thinking about yourself, thinking about other people. Now listen to this adorable story. This story happened in a Sephardic shul in Yerushalayim. There was a rabbi who every morning would come early at 6:30, and he would learn Torah with 15 people. On 7:15 they would start davening. But there was one man there, besides these 15 people, who wasn't so bright in Torah learning, but he was a good heart, had a Leiv Toiv. So he said, boy, if these guys are coming to learn, I want to help them. I'm going to serve coffee and tea to these people. And everybody had different things. This guy liked coffee with milk, coffee with 99 milk, red milk, with sugar, without sugar. And then when it came with the tea, this guy came from England, so he wanted tea with water, with milk, decaffeinated tea, herbal tea. He had a whole list of 15 people what they wanted. But he gave everybody a half a cup. People said, why are you giving a half a cup? Why don't you give a full cup? He said, that's how I do it. He said, but we all want a full cup. He said, oh, I'm right here by the kitchen. Just call me and I'll bring you the rest if you want. Fine. One day he wasn't feeling well, and he wakes up his son, who's in the other room, who davened in another shul, and he said to him, he said, could you go to the shul? I'll give you the list. Give everybody the coffee and tea that they want. They're wonderful people. They come early in the morning to learn Torah. He said, okay, I'll do it. And he got the chart, and he comes early, and he fills up everything, and he's got the whole tray, and he's about to walk into the Beis Medrash, and he sees his father. He says, Abba, what are you doing now? I thought you said you don't feel well. He said, I forgot to tell you something. He said, what did you forget to tell me? A half a cup. He said, what? You give everybody only half? Don't they want a full cup? He said, yeah, of course they want a full cup. But I don't give anybody a full cup, only a half. Why? He said, I'll tell you, but don't tell anybody. He said, there are two old men there. Their hands shake terribly. And if I would give everybody a full cup, when they pick up the cup to drink, it would spill all over the Gemara, spill on the table, spill on their clothes, on other people. Like this, I give everybody a half a cup. They could shake from today to tomorrow. Nothing's going to spill. And if I give everybody a full cup and give them a half a cup, they're also going to be embarrassed. So imagine that. This guy, he knows people are criticizing him, but he doesn't care because he wants to do what the right thing is. And I just want to tell you one more thing. You know, every one of us can be great. And that's what the whole preparation for Paysach to Shavuos is all about. Being great in Chesed and being great in Torah. And every girl should learn Torah, something every day. And I just want to end just with this thing. Rav Hutner, who was a brilliant Talmud Chacham and the head of the Chaim Berlin Yeshiva, once said this. The Medrash tells us that at the end of time, not at the end of time, at the end of creation, the Pasuk says, Vayar Elokim es kol asher asa. Hashem saw everything that he did, v'hinei toiv ma'oid, and it was very good. And the Medrash says that you could make another word out of the word ma'oid. If you switch around the letters, what other word could you make? Think about it. What? Adam, very good. Who said that? Who said Adam? Okay, Adam is right. So Rabbi Hutner asked, why is the Medrash telling us? I mean, even the girls in Aderes, can figure it out, right? So what's the point? And he said something brilliant. He said, everything in this world can be measured. The distance from the sun to the earth can be measured. The distance from the earth to the bottom of the ocean can be measured. There's only one thing that can't be measured. That's the potential in a human being. We are all Adam, we're all human beings. And Adam can be Me'oid. So don't worry about what marks you get. Don't worry about what your sister or your brother thinks about you. You could all be great. Adam is Ma'oid. And sometimes girls don't get the best marks in class and they feel bad. I mean, don't tell the teachers I said this. Marks are not important, right? I know that they want you to get hundreds and everything, but that's not what's going to make or break you in life. What's going to make and break you in life is your determination to accomplish. And you can do anything. Every one of you can be great. And that's my bracha to all of you. As we prepare in these days, you know how you become great? Make every day count. Don't worry what's in the future. Who knows what the future is? You want to have a Richas Yamin. Make every day count with Torah and Chesed, and that's how you become great. And that's the bracha that I give to each and every one of you. Every one of you has potential. Every one of you has talents. There's three things you got to believe in. You got to believe in Torah, you got to believe in Hashem, and you got to believe in yourself. Just remember, you're all ma'od. Hashem should bench all of you. You should be able to accomplish in these days between Paysach and Shavuos. Let's do a chesed every day. Write it down, and you'll see. Hashem's going to love you because you do for others. Hashem will do for you. Thank you for inviting me, and thank you for listening to Shabbos.